It's New Bedford Connections, where we meet prominent people from the greater New Bedford area. Now here's your host, Paul Seta.
We have a real treat for you this time around on New Bedford Connections, no question about it. We are meeting a young lady who has represented our great city of New Bedford. She has represented Bristol County. She has represented Massachusetts as Miss Massachusetts 2017, and now has a chance to go big time and represent Massachusetts as Miss America. We welcome to New Bedford Connections, Miss Jillian Zucco. Jillian, hey, thanks very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stopping by New Bedford Connections. As I said, this is a real treat to have you here.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, we're going to go into your resume, and it goes so long that I hope we can get it in half an hour. But the excitement that you must be feeling right now, the possibility of winning Miss America, just going and representing Massachusetts. I mean, can you possibly describe how excited you are right now?
I don't think I have enough words to describe how excited I am, but it's amazing. I'm so grateful to just be Miss Massachusetts and to represent this Commonwealth, and the fact that I have the opportunity to compete for Miss America and to possibly be Miss America is indescribable. I'm ecstatic, and whatever happens, I am so grateful for this opportunity and everything that's happened thus far.
Well, Miss America has been going on for 97 years. This will be the 97th annual event. And I can even remember as a kid watching it and rooting for Massachusetts, and I think they still use that song. There she is,
they
Miss
do,
America, right?
in the crowning. Yep.
So
that's the
really,
moment.
That's really something to shoot for. Well, let's learn a little bit about you. I know you're from Mattapoisett, so obviously that's a southeastern Massachusetts area.
Mm-hmm.
You went to the Mattapoisett schools, I imagine?
I did. I went through the Old Rochester school system,
right.
And then I went to UMass Dartmouth, and I was in their nursing program. So I'm now a nurse. I work at Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton.
All right. What is that like being a nurse? Because, you know, my dad's been in the hospital. My mom was in the hospital recently. I was in the hospital myself. And when you get really good care at the hospital, it's a very, very nice thing. What do you attribute this to? How do you do that as a nurse?
I love my job, and I think that's important. I love people and communicating with people. And I think a big part of me having a positive and seamless transition into the nursing professional world is because when I was very young, my mom started a community service singing troupe called Showstoppers.
Okay.
So we started singing in nursing homes, assisted living programs, other healthcare facilities, and we'd bring live musical entertainment to those who wouldn't have access otherwise. And so at 6, 7 years old, I was singing to patients, shaking their hands, talking, and I felt so comfortable. So in nursing school, people at first are a little awkward when you're introducing yourself to a patient and providing care. I had no problem. I felt so comfortable, and I think that helped me jumpstart my therapeutic relationship and communication abilities.
It's really amazing because it's your connection to the arts, right? Your parents involved in music and so forth. You were singing, so you took the arts talent over here, combined it with your familiarity with the caretaking, you put it together, and now you're a nurse, right?
Yeah, it's interesting how life comes full circle.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit about growing up. Were you one of those kids that was in the drama thing and danced and sang and did all that stuff? Was that you?
My mom told me that I was singing before I could talk.
Okay.
And so we have this video. We had to pull, for Miss America, we had to pull out videos from when we were younger of us doing our talent or something interesting that the Miss America organization might like. So I found this video, well, my mom found it. I was 3 years old, and it was at my godmother's wedding, so my mom's brother and his wife. They were getting married, and the DJ called and said his dad had had a heart attack, so he wasn't coming, but he was sending a replacement DJ. So when they took the microphone to announce that, I guess I had just turned 3 and I was mesmerized by the microphone. So I took it and I started singing every song that I knew. Twinkle, twinkle, you are my sunshine. Tomorrow from the musical Annie. And my mom said that they could not get me to stop. And at first they were like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. But then I guess, people clapped and I liked it and they liked it. So it's a really funny video now.
That's amazing. From the age of 3, right? You grabbed that microphone and that was it. There's no turning back now, right?
And my first professional production was right here in New Bedford. I played Molly in the musical Annie with New Bedford Festival Theater, so that was my first professional theater experience.
Well, we had George and Armand on a few weeks ago promoting the Festival Theater, so being involved in the arts is nothing like it.
Right.
So as you were growing up, I mean, I've talked to many Miss New Bedfords before. They're usually outgoing like you are. Mm-hmm. You're kind of extroverted. Most of them are anyway.
Yes,
at least
definitely.
they come across that way.
Definitely.
Growing up and singing and being in the performing arts and the drama stuff gives you a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
Definitely. I think it helps you feel comfortable with who you are. It's a route to express yourself, because you're singing, music, art, anything with the arts is definitely a way to express yourself. And I think communication skills are definitely something that you learn from being in the arts and being in music and on stage.
Now, you still sing now, or how
I
does
do.
this,
I'll be singing for my Miss America talent. I grew up a competitive dancer also, so fortunately I had the opportunity to choose between the two, but I still sing now. I sing with my dad's rock band. As Miss Massachusetts, I do a lot of performing or singing at fundraisers, a lot of national anthems. I've done some community and professional theater, so I love it. I don't think I'll ever stop.
This is Kelly and John Zucco. We want to get a shout out to the proud
Yes.
parents of Miss Massachusetts. So
Thanks,
it must
Mom
be
and
fun.
Dad.
Must be fun singing in the band with the family and so
It
forth.
is
right?
really fun, yeah. So my dad is the lead singer and he plays guitar, and I sing with them. Sometimes my cousins sing too. My mom isn't as outgoing with her talent. I wish she would share it more because she's very, very talented. But again, she and I now co-direct that group called Showstoppers. So she really does a lot of the behind the scenes and teaching and fostering other people's love for volunteering. And singing.
Now let's promote this now. What's the name of the band and where do they play?
So my dad's band is called Johnny's Basement. They are all around the South Coast. They have some gigs in Taunton. They're at Ice House in Fairhaven, I think, coming up. So if you just like their Facebook page, Johnny's Basement,
There you go.
you'll see where they're at.
Yeah, there. All right, let's talk about how you started to get involved in pageants. Now,
Okay.
you obviously went to Old Rochester Regional High School. You graduated in 2011. Oh, and by the way, magna cum laude. Magna
Yes,
cum
from
laude.
UMass
in the
Dartmouth.
nursing. I like that. You know, the best part about magna cum laude is when they're announcing the the student going by. They can say, Jillian Zucco, magna cum laude.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, that's a 3-point.
It's
That's a
definitely
3.5
definitely a
right
proud
there.
moment.
Yeah, that's a 3. Is that a 3.5?
I think so.
That's not bad. That's not easy.
Even the nursing program at UMass Dartmouth is very rigorous and
Yeah, right.
competitive. So I couldn't do without my parents, and I'm so lucky.
Yeah,
I'm very blessed.
Well, congratulations on your success, both at Old Rochester and the magna cum laude out of
Thank
the UMass
you.
program. So tell me how you got involved in pageants. Was Miss New Bedford the first one you went for?
It was. So in 2012, my mom saw in the newspaper that the Miss New Bedford organization was giving away $6,000 for their 60th anniversary.
Well, that'll give you, that'll get your attention, right?
Right. So she's like, you're a college student, you have a talent, you volunteer all the time, your platform is a no-brainer, you do enough, so why don't you try it? So I said, sure. So I competed for Miss New Bedford. I was first runner-up to Janelle Gannett, and I won the talent award. So then the Miss Taunton organization said, why don't you compete for us? Just keep everything the same. It's fine. So I did the same thing. First runner-up, won talent. So I start accumulating the scholarship money without a commitment, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I like to sing. Why not? So, and then my third one was Miss Fall River, and this was sort of in the fall of 2012. So I said to my mom, I said, don't invite anybody else. I don't want anybody else to feel obligated to come watch me keep being first runner-up and sing the same song. I think I did different songs, but still, you get the point.
Yeah.
So she listened to me. She didn't invite anybody, and I won Miss Fall River.
All
So
right.
they announced, with the family of Jillian Zucco, please come to the stage for pictures, and it's just my mom.
So the time that they kindly said, well, we'll kind of stay in the background, that's the time you went in and got the victory.
Yeah, and so once you have a local title like Miss Fall River or Miss New Bedford, then you have a ticket to compete for Miss Massachusetts. So
Right. So tell me about, you were Miss New Bedford after Miss Fall River, right?
Yes, I was Miss Fall River, competed for Miss Massachusetts my first year. I made the top 10. Then I came back in to compete for Miss New Bedford.
All right.
And so at Miss Massachusetts that year, I also placed in the top 10. And then I did compete. This was the third time after that. So I've competed for Miss Massachusetts 5 times.
Right.
I would have aged out this year if I didn't win.
This is your last chance.
This was my last year.
This is like the ninth
And
inning of the
I
game
have to
here.
tell you, this took me 1 year longer than it did to get my bachelor's degree. So, but you know what? It was so worth it. And I always say this, that even if I didn't win Miss Massachusetts, the journey was incredible. Just how much I learned about myself, public speaking skills. I went into my Good Samaritan hospital interview, and it was just a piece of cake because all of the interviews I've done, competing for titles. So
Right.
I am so grateful. Plus the scholarship money, I still have some left for grad school. I've made over $30,000.
Wow. So the people that you meet along the way, the friendships that you have, even the girls that you compete against. I mean, I've talked to the Miss New Bedfords before. Not as competitive as you think. Obviously, you want to try to win,
Right.
but you actually make friendships with some of
Yes,
the other
and
girls,
they
right?
call it a sisterhood, and it sounds cliche, and everybody laughs and rolls their eyes, but we really do keep in touch forever. I mean, one of my best friends right now was former Miss New Bedford. I crowned her after I was Miss New Bedford. I crowned Jocelyn Noon's Miss New Bedford,
Right.
and we're still best friends. Same thing with actually Kristen Rose, who was last year's Miss
Yeah,
New
right.
Bedford. I encouraged her to compete, and she had never competed before. And then, so I crowned Jocelyn, Jocelyn crowns Kristen, and it really is a sisterhood. We're all so close.
They're passing the baton a little bit, huh?
I guess so.
Well, nothing against Taunton and nothing against Fall River, but we're happy to see you win Miss New Bedford.
I was happy too, because so most of the local competitions, and actually I have to tell you that Sam Haskell, who's the CEO of Miss America, doesn't want it to be called a pageant anymore, so I still have to work on that. But so the competitions that I've competed for, most of them are open, so you just have to live, work, or go to school in Massachusetts to compete in any of the titles. But Miss New Bedford is special because it's closed. You have to live, work, or go to school in the greater New Bedford area in order to be Miss New Bedford. So you really are representing this region, and it's important.
Yeah, right. And, Fall River is southeastern Massachusetts, so is Taunton. But, Mattapoisett, you're right over next to New Bedford there.
I
It's kind of
know.
like, it's really great to see. So then, after that, you were Miss New Bedford, and after that is when you ran for Miss Bristol County.
Yes, then I was Bristol County, and I was first runner-up to, so I went New Bedford, went Fall River, then New Bedford, then Middleborough,
Okay.
then South Coast, then Bristol County.
All right.
So the first 2 times I competed, I was top 10. The third and fourth time, I was first runner-up. I was first runner-up twice before
Wow.
I won.
Wow.
So that's 5 times.
So as you kept going and as you kept trying, I mean, was there some frustration level that you were right at the top of the hill, right at the
A
top
little
of
bit, actually. So, of course, you want to keep getting better and better every time, but when you stay, you think that you're plateauing, and you're like, what can I do differently? So it is a little bit frustrating, especially after you're first runner-up once. You think, okay, next year's my year. But looking back, I could not be happier that I had those years of experience and growth, because I can tell you that I'm so much better in interview and more polished on stage now than I was 2 years ago, and I feel that I have a better chance at Miss America now than I did 2 years ago.
What do you think you had to work on every time you went to finally get you over the top, do you think?
I think it just has to do with experience and being how you come off. I think now I come off more experienced and mature in my interview. I think that's the most important, and being comfortable with yourself. And I think that comes with age and experience. I graduated from college. I have more time. I have experience in the real world working. And I think that it shows when you are so totally confident and content with where you are in life, and you can just honestly answer questions and be exactly who you are. I think that really shows through.
Well, they say there's no substitute for experience, right? So
No.
every time you go, I can imagine the first time you probably went on stage and you tried to be
You're
comfortable.
nervous.
You're nervous.
You're
looking
thinking
around.
about what the judges want to hear rather
Right.
than saying what you honestly believe in, and it's things like that.
So this last time it was kind of like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
right?
I was so comfortable because I said, okay, either I age out right now and I have time to pursue other goals and dreams that I have, and I would be content with that, or I will be so incredibly elated to go to Miss America. So I
Right.
totally underestimated how excited I would be if I did win, I have to say. So it's just, I'm so happy.
Well, congratulations. It's really nice to have you representing our area. Now,
Thank you.
let's talk a little bit about the competition. You came up with a competition, something that means the way of suffering in Latin. It retells the Christ walk through Jerusalem on the way to the
Oh,
crucifixion.
so at
Tell me
Miss
about that.
Massachusetts, that's the song that I sang. It's called Via Dolorosa, and that's what it's about. It is a religious song. It's about the road to Calvary.
Very moving.
It is. It's very moving. It's very dramatic, and I think that. I think whether I would tell the judges when they ask me about my song or why did you pick your song, I would say whether you're religious or not, I hope that you're moved by this dramatic ballad. Because it doesn't really matter what I believe and what they believe. It's as long as you enjoy it. And personally, I enjoy singing heart-wrenching ballads, and that was one of them.
Right.
It wasn't particularly the religious aspect of it. That's not the reason why I chose it. I am Catholic. I sing at St. Anthony's every few Sundays, so it definitely is near and dear to my heart.
Right.
So I think just the whole package of it is what made me, pick the song, and I won talent with it. So I hope that I did move the audience and the judges.
You have to be able to hit those high notes.
It is a tough song. The song I'm singing at Miss America is tougher, though, I have to say.
Can you say what it is, or is
Yes,
this a secret?
I can now.
Okay, what is it?
It's The Impossible Dream.
Oh, wow, that's a great song.
It's the Linda Etta version, so it's definitely tough.
Dream, the impossible dream.
Yes. Yes.
I won't try to go any further than that. That's a fantastic song. So you've been working on it, and you got time to
and I
practice
think
it and everything?
I do. I have had time, not as much time as some of the other people who were crowned back in March have, I'd only had 3 months, but it's definitely a song that I can relate to because being Miss Massachusetts and competing for Miss America was like the impossible dream, and now I'm doing it.
Yeah, right. So many times I've been home watching these pageants, right? And of course you're rooting for Massachusetts. And if Massachusetts gets knocked off, you root for Rhode Island, that kind of thing. But I can remember a few times that Miss Massachusetts got deep into the competition, and it always comes down to that question. Everything's kind of even.
It does.
And they wipe everything out, and they go, okay, it comes down to that question. And if you can't deliver on that question, the whole thing can go down the tubes.
Absolutely.
So in the Miss Massachusetts, you got this question about the 13 Reasons Why, which was the mini-series about teen suicide. Very, very tough question they asked you. What exactly did they ask you? How did you answer it? And why did you answer it in the way that you did?
So they asked me, they said many people are calling for the show 13 Reasons Why to be removed. Do you feel that, do you feel like it should be removed from the television network or not? It was something along those lines. And I said that I don't think it should be removed, but I think parents should definitely use parental guidance, supervision, to decide whether or not their child should watch it. If they're mature enough, if they're comfortable enough in their own skin. So if we do keep it on television, we need to use it as a tool to educate, because teen suicide right now is absolutely a huge issue.
Absolutely.
And we need to be promoting self-love in our teenagers, self-love, self-respect, and that's pretty much what I said, and I said it because I believe it.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. If you're answering the question in a fashion that you really believe, and this is your real answer, not some kind of canned answer that you practice.
Right. Then you come off as more genuine.
Absolutely. But the thing is, you can't practice that. You know what I mean? Like, you can practice your song, and you can practice everything else about the competition. But the question that they're going to ask, how do you prepare for that?
You don't know what they're going to ask you.
Do they ask you sample questions just to get you comfortable answering? Can you practice it at all?
I do a lot of mock interviewing. I have a whole binder where I write down current events, social issues, my ideas, some phrases that I liked that I've read or heard other people say, just so that I have some ideas fresh in my head. I have a page for each of Trump's cabinet, and that keeps changing, so that's really funny. But,
by the time this airs, it might be all different.
I know, it's a little stressful. I can't keep up President Trump. But yeah, I do a lot of studying, and a lot of, I have my mom and some people ask me questions so that I can practice speaking about it.
Right. But to stand there on stage, right, and there are thousands of people watching and so forth.
There's no practice.
Miss Massachusetts, and you get to Miss America if you get to that point, and they say, okay, it's all going to come down to this question. I mean, obviously you have a great deal of poise that gets you this far, but to be able to stay within yourself. So that, I think I would go blank. I'd be standing there going, I don't know, I've lost my
and some people do.
My ability to concentrate because so much is on the line. How do you do that?
I really try to focus and center myself before I go on. And actually sometimes I'll be backstage, and if there are people who answer the questions in front of me, they're all different questions, but I'll use that as a warm-up. I'll listen to the question, and then I'll block my ears and answer it myself, just so that I get a little warm-up until it's my turn, just practice answering random questions.
So it's a talent competition. It's what, the evening gown?
So you have talent, evening wear, lifestyle and fitness and swimsuit, on-stage question. So those are all everything that happens on stage, and then the private interview with the judges happens obviously off stage.
How do you select the gown and the swimsuit? Is there a lot of thought that goes into that to try to, dazzle the judges and things like that?
I think it's sort of just a personal opinion. It's whatever you like, whatever you feel represents you and makes you feel good about yourself, basically. They're not supposed to be judging the swimsuit or the gown. It's supposed to be, the confidence and the poise and the whole package. So I'm sure they look at the swimsuit and the gown, but that's the whole, that's the idea.
No, but I understand what you're saying, because like you've done these pageants so many times. If somebody is walking across the stage a little nervous, or just lacking in confidence just a little bit, they'll be able to pick that up. And you've done it so many times, your hope is that, I can do this. I've got the confidence to do it. Mm-hmm. So that's, I guess, what your thought process might be, right?
Right, just, being okay with whatever happens and knowing that you did your absolute best and there's nothing else you could have done.
Now, I was looking through your resume here, so we could chat about the different volunteer work that you've done, and it just goes on and on and on of all the different things you've been involved with. You've won different community service awards and things like that. Tell me about that. Why have you been so involved in volunteering your time? I mean, your time seems to be pretty tight as we speak.
So when I was young, my mom started me in community service activities. So she started Showstoppers, the community service singing troupe. As I said before, we performed at nursing homes, assisted living programs, and then it sort of grew to community events as well. I was an altar server at my church, and then growing up I was a math tutor. So just all of these things, she said, oh, why don't you do this? And it wasn't because she made me do it, but you feel so good. There are rewards that go far more worth it than any monetary amount could be.
Right.
So the intrinsic value is really what motivated me and kept me going to do it, and I just really love it. Last year I started the Miss Inspirational program, which is a program for girls and young women with special needs and disabilities, and it's my favorite thing in the whole entire world. So I think the key is to find what you love, find what makes you happy. So doing these things makes me happy. And everybody says, oh, I don't have time, but you make time for what's important to you.
Right.
And it's important for you to enjoy things.
Right.
So.
I've seen situations where somebody was performing at an assisted living or at a nursing home or something like that, and the smiles on the faces of these folks when somebody is entertaining them, like you said, the feedback that you get, it makes you feel good because you're bringing happiness to people who are maybe at the tail end of their life.
So I have a really crazy story that happened to me when I was performing that I actually use when I speak to people and inspire them to volunteer and so forth. So when I think I was about 11, I was singing at a nursing home and I was singing a World War II love ballad, I'll Be Seeing You. And I saw commotion in the audience, nurses were crying and there was a man in a wheelchair, they were surrounding him, so I thought something bad had happened, but I was young and you just keep singing and just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
And then at the end I learned that this man had come out of a mute and catatonic state to sing the lyrics with me to his wife.
Oh my God, is that
so
unbelievable?
It was, and when I was younger I didn't realize the impact that made, except that people were like, oh my gosh, this
right.
just
that was
happened.
Very moving,
so now I
inspirational
realize that, even an 11-year-old or however old I was can make such a big difference in somebody's life just by doing what I love, which is singing. So that's what my platform is all about. Choose a cause, make a difference. You find what you love, find your passion, and you use that to forward a cause.
Now you also got involved in blood drives and food drives and things like that as part of that Miss Inspirational program, 750 hours of community service. That's a lot of hours.
Yeah, so
how do you do all that?
When I was younger, I would just have, it's easy to have a food drive. You put a box and tell people to
right.
donate.
Yeah.
So that doesn't take any time, and I think that's just what people don't understand about volunteerism is that it's so easy. So you have a box and you put it somewhere and you tell people it's there and they donate and you just bring it to the food pantry. What is it, a 15-minute drive maybe? And then as far as the blood drives, I'm a nurse. We have a lot of blood in our bodies.
Right.
Okay, we can take to lose it. So if you're not afraid of needles, spend 15 minutes, donate blood. You can save up to 3 lives.
Well, I know I'm not afraid of a needle because I've had blood taken so many times that it doesn't bother me at all, but it's good to give your blood, there's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
What about the fundraiser for the Children's Miracle Network? $25,000 raised for Boston Children's Hospital. What
I'm
a
at
great event.
30,000 now.
Oh, 30,000. Wait a minute, let me correct that. 30,000.
I'm so excited. So when I started competing in the Miss America organization, I learned about the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. It's a nonprofit organization that raises money for children's hospitals across the country. And so our local CMN hospital is Boston Children's. When I was 3 years old, I was treated at Boston Children's for quite a while. I had a rare, life-threatening children's disease, and so they saved my life. And when I learned that the Miss America's national platform was CMNH, which benefits Boston Children's, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a no-brainer. We were only required to raise $250 to compete for Miss Massachusetts, and so I just had these big fundraisers because everybody rallies for a cause like Boston Children's Hospital.
Right.
So each year I've had another fundraiser, and I've had different things. One was sort of a party with a band. I've had dinners. I've had talent shows, competitions, the Miss Inspirational program, and so far I've raised just about over $30,000 for Boston Children's Hospital. So
that's fantastic. What a
I'm
wonderful
excited about
cause.
it.
What a wonderful cause.
And I'm still fundraising, so if you want to donate, you can go to missamericaforkids.org/donate/Jillian Zucco.
Well, here's a few things that I really enjoyed reading about you. I'm a big sports fan, and you've had the opportunity to sing the national anthem for the Red Sox, the Celtics, the New England Revolution, even the New York Mets, and at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. So being able to sing the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, for all these sports groups and some of these other organizations, what a thrill. How did that all come about?
So when I was younger, I was in a 4-girl pop band called Varsity Girls.
Yes, the Varsity Girls.
And we did a lot of touring and performing, and most of those national anthems were with that group, including singing for President Obama at a rally in Boston, which was really cool, and my American Airlines Arena in Miami. So we did a lot of really big things, but we toured the Eastern Seaboard. I've had some amazing experiences. So I hope that in my Miss America interview, I can talk about how I've been on tour. I know what the rigorous schedule is like, and I can handle it.
You've done it.
I've done it.
It's always easier when you've done it.
But it's always nice to sing the national anthem and to honor your country in that way before sporting events.
And having been here in Massachusetts, you were raised in Massachusetts, I mean, getting on the field at Fenway Park and belting out the national anthem, and you're looking around and you're saying, this is Fenway Park. This is like the shrine of baseball
It's historic, yes. Yeah. And I'm hoping to be able to do it as a solo, as Miss Massachusetts this year. So
maybe as a Miss America.
I think that's in the plans. Oh, that would be even better.
All right. So, and the other thing about, performing for President Obama and the Boston Pops and all that, I mean, how long ahead of time did you know that you were going to be able to sing for the President of the United States?
I think just a few weeks, actually.
Right. So did you think, oh my God, the
and
President of the United States, what is this?
It was just such an honor. And we were very, very excited. We didn't get to meet him at all, but also we opened up at that same event. James Taylor performed right after us.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
That was very surreal.
So you talk about public appearances. I imagine now you've been Miss New Bedford, Miss Bristol County, now Miss Massachusetts. You have to make public appearances all the time, parades and the whole thing. You got the wave down and all that.
I wave like a normal person. Right. Everybody asks me that.
I was trying to get through the show without asking that.
This is so weird.
And I just couldn't help it.
It's okay. It's okay.
But anyway, you do a lot of parades. You do a lot of public appearances. Fun? Do you have a great time with that?
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. As I said before, I love people. I love meeting people. I love talking to people. So that's what this is all about.
Right.
And I think that by singing and by being present and by people seeing you volunteer, you're inspiring them to do the same. So that's what it's all about. I especially love talking to the kids.
Right, fantastic. Now the preparation for Miss Massachusetts, right? I mean, this is a national thing, the big time here, right? ABC television in September, coast to coast. Miss Massachusetts, Jillian right here, is going coast to coast. What is it like preparing for this?
It's a lot, like I said before, keeping up with current events, practicing speaking, but even engagements like this, talking to you, is great practice for me.
Right.
So
oh, good. So we're helping you out a little bit.
Yes, oh my gosh, you're totally helping me out. We actually have a social media calendar we have to follow from Dick Clark Productions, so that's interesting. Picking wardrobe, practicing walking and everything, because that's a big part of it. Different shoes, different outfits. Practicing talent is a lot.
Right, and you do a lot of things. I think at the beginning of the show, all of the ladies in the 50 states come out and kind of, don't you kind of come out and do a unison kind of a routine there?
Yeah, so there's this thing called the Parade of States, and each person gets to do an intro. So
let's hear it from Massachusetts.
So one of mine, we have 3, and one of them I'll share with you is, from the home of the best hospitals in the nation and the mecca of education and the state with the most beautiful stretch of seashores, I am Miss Massachusetts, Jillian Zucco.
All right, that's what we're going to hear.
I don't know if I'll pick that one, because I have a couple other ones, and one has to do with, from the home of the team who made the greatest Super Bowl comeback in history.
That's a good one.
But
that's a good one.
That's a little controversial.
Wait, that could irritate people from Green Bay won't like that.
In a Miss Massachusetts interview, all the judges are from out of state, and I've been asked, did Tom Brady cheat?
Right, and you're supposed to be able to answer that.
I know. I did.
What was the answer?
I said, I don't think so, but regardless of whether he did or not, he received a much harsher penalty than he deserved, and there are other teams who do the same things, and everybody just pays attention to Tom Brady and the Patriots because they're the best.
Wow, what an answer, huh? I think you're ready. I think you're ready for Miss America. I think there isn't much more preparation that you have to do. But, obviously you're leaving very soon as of this taping.
Yep.
And you're going to get down to Atlantic City, and then you got to interact with the other girls and things like that. It's just going to be fantastic for you and for your family.
So Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on what you've accomplished so far, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
We really thank you for taking time out to stop and talk to us here at New Bedford Connections.
Thank you. I would just want to thank everyone for all the support. It's amazing.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jillian Zucco. She is Miss Bristol County. She is Miss Massachusetts 2017, and she's going to representing our great state of Massachusetts in the Miss America pageant in September on ABC television, coast to coast. Jillian Zucco. Let's hope that we'll be out there rooting on Miss Massachusetts, and hopefully she'll come back here to New Bedford Connections as Miss America. Thanks again to Jillian. I'm Paul Santos for New Bedford Connections. We'll see you next time right here.